Hello, my name is Amy Natsky. Welcome to Listening to Great Christian Souls. This is a channel I maintain in part as a commitment to my own edification and most certainly also the encouragement of other Christians. Most of what I read comes from the Western tradition of Christianity, Protestant and Catholic, and most of that, not all but most, was written since the time of the Reformation and Enlightenment, and I've posted a more detailed introduction below. I have been waylaid for several months by health concerns, but I'm very glad to be back and eager to start into Brother Lawrence. Before I forget, one more announcement. Please do click on the like and the subscribe button beneath. That really does help in getting these readings circulated. Thank you. Brother Lawrence was a much beloved monk in 17th century France. He was a simple fellow born into peasant stock. He's best remembered for the posthumous book of his writing titled The Practice of the Presence of God. This is a book of letters and conversations compiled by his friend, Father Joseph de Beaufor. It became popular among Catholics and Protestants alike, with John Wesley, Hannah Whitall Smith, and A.W. Tozer recommending it. I will be reading here the letters from that compilation, and I have notes about this particular edition below. Brother Lawrence was a misfit. He called himself a great backward fellow who broke everything. He is an encouragement to those of us with ADHD, which certainly includes myself, because while he did not shun the rhythm of his life in the monastery, he had an instinctive feeling that the set prayers and rote methods were not going to come naturally for him. So he said to God early on, "Lord, I simply want you above all the time, and in all things." In his distractions, he learned over the years how to recall his mind back to God more and more gently, like you would coax a little puppy back to the newspaper. He also had a delicate conscience. He was troubled by what he called the failures of his youth. His experience as a soldier at a young age no doubt affected him deeply. He does not go into much detail about these things, but we can be sure that he suffered through some very dark times. Francois Fenelon, the 17th century spiritual giant, and I read from him a few years ago, met Brother Lawrence. Now Fenelon was of the very finest aristocratic stock. He was a distinguished cleric right in the inner circle of Louis XIV. But he was drawn to this simple, peace-filled monk. He admired him and sought to learn from him. Brother Lawrence's phrase, "to give the all for the all," is often quoted in the writings both of Fenelon and his contemporary, Madame Jean Guyon. One quote from Fenelon reads, in a letter, "Brother Lawrence looks rough in appearance and gentle by manners. This blend demonstrates God in him. I met him, and there's a place in the book," that is this same series of letters that I'll be reading, "where the author, without naming me by name, told in a nutshell a very good talk I had with him about death when he was very ill and very cheerful." So when I come to that place in this reading, I'll give you a little heads up. Yet another thing Fenelon related was, quote, "Shall I say a word about Brother Lawrence? His sufferings were so intense for 4 years that no one could have convinced him of his salvation." I'll turn now to an account from the Christian Classic Ethereal Library. That's quite a mouthful. And I'll also offer a link to that resource below. Incredible site. Brother Lawrence was born Nicholas Herman in the region of Lorraine, located in modern-day eastern France. As a young man, poverty forced him to join the army, where he was guaranteed meals and a small stipend. During this period, he had the experience that set him on his unique spiritual journey. It wasn't characteristically a supernatural vision, but a supernatural clarity into a common sight. In the deep of winter, Herman looked at a barren tree, stripped of leaves and fruit, waiting silently and patiently for the hope of summer abundance. Gazing at the tree, he grasped for the first time the extravagance of God's grace and the unfailing sovereignty of divine providence. Like the tree, he himself was seemingly dead, but God had life waiting for him, and the turn of seasons would bring fullness. At that moment, he said, that leafless tree first flashed in upon my soul the fact of God. And also, we can add, a love for God that never after ceased to burn. An injury forced his retirement from the army. After his short stint as a footman, he sought a place where, again, in his words, he could suffer for his failures. He entered the Discalced Carmelite monastery in Paris as Brother Lawrence of the Resurrection. He spent almost all the rest of his life within the walls of this priory, working in the kitchen and repairing sandals in his later years. In that kitchen, amidst the tedious chores of cooking and cleaning at the constant bidding of his superiors, Brother Lawrence developed his rule of spirituality and work. In his Maxims, he writes, "Men invent means and methods of coming at God's love. They learn rules and set up devices to remind them of that love, and it seems like a world of trouble to bring oneself into the consciousness of God's presence. Yet it might be so simple. Is it not quicker and easier just to do our common business wholly for the love of Him?" For Brother Lawrence, common business, no matter how mundane or routine, was the medium of God's love. The issue was not the sacredness or worldly status of the task, but the motivation behind it. "Nor is it needful that we should have great things to do," he said. "We can do little things for God. I turn the cake that is frying on the pan for love of Him. And that done, if there is nothing else to call me, I prostrate myself in worship before Him, who has given me grace to work. Afterwards I rise happier than a king. It is enough for me to pick up but a straw from the ground for the love of God." Brother Lawrence continually retreated to that place in his heart where the love of God made every detail of his life of surpassing value. "I began to live as if there were no one save God and me in the world," he said. Together, God and Brother Lawrence cooked meals, ran errands, scrubbed pots, and endured the scorn of the world. He admitted that the path to this perfect union was not easy. He spent years disciplining his heart and mind to yield to God's presence. "As often as I could, I placed myself as a worshiper before Him," he said, "fixing my mind upon His holy presence, recalling it when I found it wandering from Him. This proved to be an exercise frequently painful, yet I persisted through all difficulties." Only as Brother Lawrence reconciled himself to the fact that this struggle and longing was his destiny did he find his peace. Then, in that realization, his soul came to its own home and place of rest. He spent the remainder of his long life in relative obscurity and pain, but perfect joy.